Are you wanting things that you feel like you can't have? Do you find that you're constantly wanting something that seems just out of reach or is unavailable and you're feeling frustrated and angry? You may have this assumption running today. I'm going to go through it. And today we're going to rewrite that assumption. And with law of assumption, things work fast. When you identify the assumption that's causing the reality and you change that assumption and just hold a new one, reality can move and it will reflect back the new assumption really quickly. So if you have been feeling like you are in a pattern of wanting things that you can't have and it's been going on for way too long now, this assumption is going to change all of that, and that's what we're talking about today, so stick around. Make sure you subscribe to my channel, and if you'd like more information on my offerings, including courses, coaching, my book, I Am Money, you'll find all of the details in the box below this video or at my website, youaretheone.com.au. Well, as you can see, I have been busily working away at putting up my Christmas decorations, which took me forever. Actually, this year I did buy a Christmas tree, but I haven't put it up. It is coming into a time of year, regardless of whether you celebrate Christmas or not. This is a time of year that can bring a lot of things up to the surface. There can be a lot of stress, there can be a lot of anxiety, there can be a lot of conflict. Doesn't have to be, I'm not affirming that, of course, but this just can be a time, it's like a pressure cooker where a lot of things can come to the surface. And if you are not doing this work, or you're unaware of yourself, or you'll fall into the trap of believing that reality is happening to you, you can fall into a cycle of reaction. So I just want to mention that coming into this time of year, of holiday season, to be really mindful and to make sure that you are taking time out every day and going into your wonderful human imagination and envisioning the futures that you want to experience and revising anything from the past that was unfavorable, even if that was just yesterday. This is a really crucial time to stay connected with self and stay connected with the truth that you are the cause and creator of your reality based on the stories that you are holding in consciousness. And a lot of those stories, of course, are in the subconscious, but we know what's in the subconscious by just looking at reality. If you want to know what's going on beneath your level of awareness, then just look out into your reality, which is the mirror of your subconscious, and there you will see the true story of what's really going on. So one of those stories that I wanted to talk about today is the story of feeling like you cannot have what you want. This is a very common assumption, and you may not know that you have this assumption running. However, your reality will tell you whether you have this assumption running. So if you find yourself being frustrated that reality is not conforming, it's not giving you what you want, or you're finding yourself wanting things that you can't have. Of course, we can have everything and anything. However, if we are finding ourselves attracted to things that are unavailable, or wanting things that are outside of our reach, or feeling frustrated that we can't have what we are desiring, then you may have this assumption running. So if you want what you can't have, the assumption is, I can't have what I want. And that assumption, I can't have what I want, will have been inherited from a childhood where you learned that your wants were not important, and perhaps you had caregivers that valued their wants and needs over yours, and you were kind of second to their wants and needs, or whatever you wanted or needed was bad or wrong. You may have that assumption, and therefore you will find yourself wanting things that you can't have, and you will feel frustrated by that. You will feel like you're locked out of having what it is that you want. So we're going to reverse this assumption. First of all, we have to acknowledge what the assumption is, because without acknowledgement, we can't change it. A lot of times with this work, I see a lot of people bypassing the acknowledgement. They go into denial, they don't want to look at it, or they've been taught that it's wrong or bad to become aware of the thing that you don't want. But acknowledgement is not affirmation. Resistance is affirmation. So if you're resisting the acknowledgement of something, then that is affirmation of that something, and you're going to get more of that something. So let's go back to the beginning and just give a summary of how this all works, especially if you're new to these teachings. Consciousness is the one and only reality, and reality is the reflection of consciousness. 100% across the board, no exceptions. Consciousness is the one and only reality. Reality is the reflection of consciousness. There is only consciousness, and consciousness is being reflected in reality. With that in mind, you are the cause of what you are seeing and experiencing in reality based on the stories that you're telling in consciousness. Most of those stories are subconscious. We don't know that we've got them running. We inherited them when we were young, between the ages of 0 and 8, approximately. and then they're just playing out, and because we've got the evidence in reality, we think they're real, so we continue to affirm them, and then we continue to get more of them, and then we think that we're a victim to them because we can't change them because we don't know that we're the cause of them. So that's where law of assumption can really help with that. What law of assumption does, it flips the script, and the script is, I am the cause and creator of my reality based on what I'm doing in my consciousness. So if I'm seeing something in reality that I'm not liking, that is unfavorable, that I don't want to experience more of, then I know I have to turn away from reality and go into my consciousness, which is the cause of what I'm experiencing out there in reality. Out there, I'm putting in quotation marks because there is no out there. There is just the experience of out there, but out there is the reflection of in here. So if you find that out there you want things that you feel like you can't have, and I'll give you some examples. Let's say you feel yourself desiring someone who is in another relationship. That would be an example of this. Let's say you are wanting a promotion or a job or a position that somebody else is occupying and that is out of your reach, that you can't seem to get in there. Let's say you want a particular house and you've been looking for a house, and every time the house that you want comes up, somebody comes in and snatches it from underneath you, and they come in and you don't get what you want. Anything. I mean, this is across the board. You can look at this in any area of your life. If you find yourself in a pattern of wanting things that you feel like you can't have, that's because we have the assumption running that I can't have what I want. And that assumption we learned, we inherited from our childhood. No blame to any caregivers, but we learned that we can't have what we want because we learned that other people's wants or needs are more important than ours. So of course, other people are going to come in and they're going to have what we want because they're more important than us. See how the reality is reflecting back the internal script. So it's a really simple assumption to change. But first you have to see that you have it running. You've got to acknowledge it, that I have the assumption running that I can't have what I want, that my wants are wrong or bad or unimportant, insignificant, whatever the story might be. Because here's the truth of this. You can have anything and anyone in this reality, in this experience of consciousness as reality, because you are the infinite I am of your reality. So if you can imagine it, which is the cause of reality, then you can have it, because imagination is the cause of reality, and whatever you can have in imagination, you can have in reality. Reality is the reflection of consciousness. So if you can have something in consciousness, if you have it in consciousness, if you know you have it, then you have to be able to have it in reality. Reality is objective, doesn't care, it doesn't have an opinion either way whether you have it or not. It's just responding to the commands that you're making of it. In order to change this assumption, it's really simple. It's so simple. This work is so simple. Please do not disregard these teachings because of their simplicity. They are so simple. The complexity that we experience is because we don't know the assumptions that we have running. That's where things get tricky. That's where it's complex, is we can't see how we are causing our reality. And that's why it feels difficult. And that's why it might feel a little bit more complex than it actually is. But once you see what's causing it, it is a simple flip of the script. And in terms of this assumption, the flip of the script is, I can have what I want. I am having what I am wanting. I am allowed to have what I want. I am giving myself permission to have what I want. I am permitting myself to experience what I am desiring. Now that's the other point that I want to make. With this work, there has to be desire in order for there to be manifestation. You cannot fake this stuff. You have to have a real visceral desire for something in order to experience something in manifestation. This work is not going to work without desire on some level. The way this works, if you can have it in imagination, you can have it in reality, regardless of what reality is reflecting back at this present time that tells you that what you're wanting is forbidden. So no matter what it is in reality, nothing is forbidden. Nothing is off limits. If you can have it in imagination, and you're willing to have it in imagination, and you're willing to give yourself permission to have it in imagination, and you're willing to hold yourself having it in imagination, you will have it in reality. That's just how this works. There are no exceptions to this rule. But you have to first start with the assumption that you're allowed to have what you want. Because if you are starting off from the assumption is that I can't have what I want, you are going to be replaying that cycle where you're going to be wanting things in reality that appear to be forbidden or out of reach or off limits, and you are going to be in a cycle of reaction and frustration, and then you're going to be using these techniques and they're not going to be working because it's founded on the assumption that you can't have what you want. You've got to start with the assumptions first. So whatever you're wanting that you feel like you can't have, give it to yourself now, give it to yourself in imagination, make sure to engage your imaginary senses to make it as real as possible, and then hold that vision, maintain that assumption that it is now yours, and then hands off reality. Let reality do its magic dance and reveal in the most magical ways your desire in physical form to you, which it will, and it will blow your mind. So with that said, go and give yourself all the things that you thought you couldn't have in reality. Go and give them to yourself now. And as always, please remember that you are the amazing creators of your reality. You are the superstars of your show. You are the producer, the writer, the director, and the actor in your movie. What you assume to be true will be so. So assume the best for you. Assume the best for everyone in your movie too, and you will have an amazing time. And this is my wish, my vision, and my prayer for you and for me too, of course. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. Please make sure to like this video if you enjoyed it, and I'd love to hear your comments if you have them, and I will look forward to seeing you in the next video. Have a great week, everyone. Bye.